Men Dun Jia is a very ancient method that originated thousands of years ago in ancient China. This is Ying and Eduardo Hess. We will begin by telling you a story that took place a long time ago, the story of the three kingdoms. At the end of the Han Dynasty, Cao Cao, a general of Han, was overshadowing the emperor and was amassing a huge army. His ambition was to become the emperor himself and unify China under his new dynasty. For this, he must first conquer all the lords who could possibly oppose him by accusing them of rebellion. Cao Cao started to attack and conquer them. In the south, there were two lords, Sun Quan of Wu and Liu Bei of Shu, who were staunchly opposed to Cao Cao. They were prosperous states. In the winter of 208 AD, Cao Cao advanced with a 200,000 strong force and was ready to finally overcome the southern lords and reunify the empire. He was confident that victory was within his grasp. Liu Bei's advisor, Zhuge Liang, went to Wu and asked Sun Quan to form an alliance with Shu. If Wu and the Shu formed alliance, the combined forces of 50,000 had a better chance to oppose the 200,000 of Cao Cao. Sun Quan agreed. The two opposing forces met at the Red Cliff at the Yangtze River. This battle's outcome determined the course of China's history. Zhuge Liang was the most accomplished military strategist of that period. He is also considered one of the most brilliant strategists in Chinese history. He was well versed in Men Dun Jia. It was recorded how he used the Men Dun Jia to foresee weather and his enemy's intentions, set battle formations, and use weather to help with battle strategies. As the alliance preparing to battle Cao Cao's army, there was a dire shortage of arrows. Zhou Yu, advisor of Sun Quan, challenged Zhuge Liang to make 100,000 arrows in 10 days. It was obviously humanly impossible to make so many arrows in 10 days. To Zhou Yu's surprise, Zhuge Liang accepted the order and promised to deliver the arrows in 3 days. Everyone was anxious to see how Zhuge Liang would deliver the arrows in 3 days. He ordered a small group of soldiers to build straw people and tie them up on the sides of dozens of boats. On the third day, early in the morning, there was a very heavy fog on the river. Zhuge Liang ordered the soldiers to take the boats out and went near the enemy camp and start beating the drums used for military attacks. Upon hearing the drum beat of the attacks, Cao Cao ordered his troops to fire massive amount of arrows into the noise of the attack. These arrows stuck on the straw people that were tied up on the sides of the boats. After some time, the boats were heavily loaded with arrows, and Zhuge Liang ordered them to return. There were more than 100,000 arrows. When asked how he knew to get the arrows this way, Zhuge Liang said, I was given a challenge that was humanly impossible. Only heaven could help, and heaven gave me the help. Zhuge Liang used Qi Men Dun Jia to devise the strategy of getting the arrows, knowing that Cao Cao, fearing a trap, would not attack. In the final battle, Cao Cao ordered that all the boats be tied together to keep them stable. Seeing this, the alliance decided to attack with fire. However, it is well known that in winter in China, the prevailing wind is always from the northwest. Since the alliance is on the south side of the river, it would be impossible to launch fire attack with wind blowing in the opposite direction. How does one get southeast wind in winter? Zhuge Liang used Qi Men Dun Jia to borrow the southeast wind. He predicted the precise moment when the wind would change to the southeast, when the alliance could launch the attack. Cao Cao was unprepared, and the boats were all tied up and unable to separate as the fire arrows started to set them aflame. Cao Cao suffered a heavy loss and finally retreated back. Here is a famous quote from the Master himself. 为驾而不通天文，不识地利，不知奇门，不晓阴阳，是庸才也。A general who doesn't understand heaven and earth, doesn't know qi men or yin yang, is incompetent.
Qi Men Dun Jia is one of the three divination arts called the San Shi. They are the Tai Shan Shu, Qi Men Dun Jia, and Daluran. Chinese metaphysics is based on the cosmology of the Trinity, Sun Sai, heaven, earth, and man.
Tai Shan Shu is the heaven level. It divines about important events, such as weather cycles, natural disasters, wars between countries, etc.
Qi Men Dun Jia is the earth level. It is well suited for military affairs, such as how to meet the enemy, which direction, what time, in what formation, attack or retreat, set ambush or meet the enemy head-on. The chart can also tell what is the enemy's plan and reaction. It can also give indication about the weather in the coming days. Zhuge Liang clearly had used this to his advantage.
Daluran is the human level. It is best suited for divining about human affairs. This was used by the greatest politicians in China's history to maneuver the treacherous waters of the imperial court.
San Shi were considered the imperial arts. In China's history, there had been many stories of great masters of the San Shi who helped the emperor or helped someone to become the emperor using their knowledge. Because of the power of this system, their secrets were highly guarded by those in power, namely the emperors. In the beginning, Qi Men Dun Jia was used in military endeavors. In modern time, Qi Men Dun Jia can be used in many aspects of life. Today, in a broad sense, we say that life is like being in a battle. Common application of Qi Men Dun Jia are love and marriage, health and sickness, career, business, making money, finding lost property or missing people, solving crimes, stock trading, weather prediction, life reading, litigation, and FengShui.
4,600 years ago, the Yellow Emperor was fighting a losing battle with a 7-foot-tall half-giant, half-bull war deity called Qu, with copper head and iron body, and his 81 brothers. Qu knew how to summon wind and rain and was able to win any war. One night while sleeping, the Yellow Emperor was woken up by a bright light coming from heaven. From this bright light emerged the Lady of Ninth Heaven, carrying a 9-inch by 8-inch jade box. The Yellow Emperor received the jade box and found that it contained a magic scroll written on dragon skin. According to the legend, he followed the secrets from the dragon scroll and defeated Qu at the Battle of Zhuolu in the 27th century BC, using south-pointing chariots and battle formations. After the victory, the Yellow Emperor instructed his court officials to translate the dragon scroll into 13 chapters of military methods, 12 chapters of solitary void methods, and 1,080 Men Dun Jia charts. These documents eventually became the art of Men Dun Jia.
Men Dun Jia consists of 4 words. Qi means strange, mystic, wonder. Men means door. Dun means hidden, evade. Jia is the first of the 10 stems. Jia is the leader of the 10 stems. It is the most dignified and important. In a warfare, it is the field marshal and is hidden, so that the enemy do not know where to attack. The 3 wonders, Yi, Bing, Ding, are the ones who assist and defend the Jia, while the 6 emblems represent 6 different legions, and they take turn to hide the Jia. A complete Men Dun Jia chart consists of 4 dimensions: earth, man, heaven, and spirits. These are the most important ingredients of the charts. They are used to analyze the Qi interaction in the 9 palaces of the Luoshu. The 4 dimensions are Dipan, composed of 9 stems and 9 palaces; Tianpan, composed of the 9 stars and 9 stems; Renpan, consisting of the 8 doors; and Shenpan, consisting of the 8 spirits. This is an example of a Men Dun Jia chart, but let's take a closer look at each level. The Dipan contains 9 palaces and 9 stems. Dipan represent location and directions on earth. The Tianpan contains 9 stems and 9 stars. The 9 stars exert to have an influence on human affairs. Their influence is action-oriented. The Renpan contains 8 doors. The 8 doors are indication of locations and directions for various human affairs. The Shenpan contains 8 spirits. The 8 spirits are the heavenly influence on human affairs. Their influence is fundamental. Here we see another example of a complete Men Dun Jia chart. Men Dun Jia is not another kind of divination like Ying or plum blossom. It is the actual study of Qi and the Qi interaction between the four dimensions of heaven, earth, man, and spirit at any given moment. The Men Dun Jia chart captures information about the Qi at that moment and indicates the current situation regarding the Yongshan or spirit of focus. Here is a real-life example on how Men Dun Jia is applied. On March 5, 2013, 1:26 p.m., a client called. He was anxious to sell one of his houses to raise some cash. We looked at the Men Dun Jia chart of that moment. By analyzing the chart, we told the client that he would be able to sell the house quite quickly with a profit. However, we could tell that he would not receive his money until May.
Here in the chart, the house is represented by the birth door, while the person is represented by his birth year stem Yi. We see that the birth door is in Gun Palace, while the client is in Kan Palace. The money is represented by Wu in Qian Palace. The interaction between these three palaces indicates that the house would sell quickly and that there would be a profit. However, the buyer could not come up with the money right away because the Qian Palace is void. The void would be filled in May, and that is when the client would receive the money for the sale. As it turned out, just as Men Dun Jia predicted, within 1 week of putting the house on the market, it was sold. However, the buyer had to wait for the bank to issue the loan before making the payment. The loan finally came through at the beginning of May, and the client received his money.
Here is another example of using Men Dun Jia to help with investing money. On October 15, 2012, at 1:59 p.m., a client called to ask for help to make a decision on investing. She said that all her friends and investors, advisors were telling her that it was a good time to buy gold and silver. She was considering to invest a large sum of her money and hold for a long term. Was this a good idea? We looked at the Men Dun Jia chart. Here, the client is represented by her birth year stem Ji in Kan, while Xin in the Kung Palace represents silver. Wu in Zhen Palace represents capital. This chart told us that it's not good for her to buy silver right now. Next, we also look at the gold, which is represented by open door in Gan. Again, the chart indicated that she should not buy gold this time. She decided to follow our advice and not to buy gold and silver like all her friends did.
Just as Men Dun Jia predicted, the price of gold and silver soon started to decline, and today she is very grateful that she did not buy gold and silver at that time. Master Eduardo Hess and Dr. Ying Li are the only FengShui Research Center teachers who have been granted the permission to teach Men Dun Jia by Master Joseph Yu. Edu and Ying have taught 3 levels of Men Dun Jia in Moscow multiple times.
Each time the seminars were met with great enthusiasm by the students.
One student commented, "I'm very grateful to Edu and Ying. It is a new experience for me. I think that I knew about Men Dun Jia a lot, but after 3 modules, Edu and Ying opened for us a new world. It is like a trip to the moon. Most of all, I like that they both taught us. It is so surprising when one teacher tells us his opinion about a chart, and then another teacher added her another opinion. But the result is the same. It is so incredibly interesting. Thank them for new sight and new touch to the world of Men Dun Jia."
Hi, this is Master Teresa Hwang from British Columbia, Canada. I invite you to come to Vernon in November 2014 to attend the FengShui Research Center Men Dun Jia seminar taught by Master Eduardo Hess and Ying Li. Please contact me at fengshui@teresahwang.com for registration information. I look forward to welcome you to join me in the studying of this amazing art of Men Dun Jia. Thank you.